If you love fall, then stick with me because in today's video, we're doing all new fall Dollar Tree DIYs. Dollar Tree has all the new fall items out at the store waiting for you right now. And one of the new items that I came across were these wood pumpkins. They're a little bit larger than ones that I've seen in previous years, so I wanted to pick them up for a DIY. So for this DIY, I'm gonna be using 4 of the wood pumpkins. I'm gonna start by taking off all of the accessories that are on these wood pumpkins. So I took off the leaves. I also used my scraper tool to take off the thankful sign. Now, as I was doing this, some of the tape was kind of pulling off. That was okay because later on I'm going to have to remove some more of this tape before I start painting. The next thing I wanted to do was create a box with these 4 wood pieces. So I started with 1 on the bottom, and I'm gonna be using a combination of E6000 and hot glue. I'll place E6000 on the side of my wood pumpkin and some hot glue, and then I'll place on 2 side pieces. I'll do the same thing with my other piece, adding on E6000 and hot glue and placing it on top. You should have a box at this point once you give it a chance to dry. And I did go ahead and remove some of that excess paper on top before I started to spray paint. Now, one of the things with this box is it is MDF, which means that the spray paint you're gonna be using is going to soak up very quickly. I'm gonna be using the spray paint Sand Dollar, but you're going to have to either do multiple coats or use heavier coats. For this one, I did about 3 coats. So you're gonna spray the entire piece with your Sand Dollar paint. Now, I felt like once that dried that honestly it's kind of had a gritty texture to it, and I thought let's just go with this because it's not giving me like a smooth spray paint finish. So I decided to use one of my stone spray paints, which gives this great texture, and I added the stone spray paint to the outside edge, and I think it looks great, but it also helped with the imperfections that were underneath my wood that I was spray painting over the top. So that's a great tip to try out if you ever have a piece that just doesn't look all that great and you're trying to get a new color on it. Once your container is dry, you can really do anything you want. I found this green leaf at Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna take off the string to it. I'm gonna add it to the front with a little bit of hot glue. Now, this is a great container you can set out for the fall. You can add in real plants, faux plants, whatever you like. For this next DIY, you're gonna need 2 items. One, maybe a little bit harder to find. It's this spider. The other item is a new charger plate that they have. It's this black charger plate. Now, I found it at the front of my store. So we're gonna make a spider tray that's gonna be perfect for the month of October. So there's this bowl on the top of the spider tray, and I'm gonna use my wire cutters to unscrew it and pull that bowl portion off. Next, I'm gonna add E6000 to the top of my spider and place it in the middle of my tray. Now, you wanna let this sit overnight, and if you need to add any more E6000 the next day, you can do that just to reinforce your tray a little bit. This is perfect to sit out with any holiday decor or treats. I have the perfect pumpkin craft for you to do that's gonna make your house smell amazing. You're gonna need 3 ingredients for this. You're going to need a container of cinnamon, some applesauce, and Elmer's glue. Now, I wasn't sure exactly how much I was going to use of each item. So to start this recipe, you're going to need a large bowl for mixing. And I put about 7 ounces of cinnamon into my bowl. Now, depending on how many pumpkins you wanna make, you can adjust this to be more or less. Next, I added in 2 of the little cups of applesauce. And then I put about 2 tablespoons of Elmer's glue in. Now, I mixed this up, and you wanna mix it up until it's a consistency where it's going to stick together. You want all of the ingredients to be incorporated. As I was mixing it up, I decided to add in an additional cup of applesauce for a total of 3 applesauce cups. I felt like that was the best option there, but really just keep adding ingredients till you get that right texture. The next thing you're gonna do is take a handful of the mixture and you're going to roll it until you create a ball. I like to do this in my hands and then also do it down on my table. Look at the size of your ball. This is going to be the base of your pumpkin. So if it's too small, add a little bit more of the mixture. If you want it even smaller, just take some away. But you want to create a nice pumpkin shape here. And then I'm going to repeat those steps until I have all of my pumpkins made. Now I wanted to make 2 pumpkins that were the same size and then one that was a little bit larger for a total of 3 pumpkins. So you're going to do this until you have all of your circles made. Next, I'm going to be using a scraping tool to create the lines in my pumpkin. So I'm going to go one way with my scraping tool all around the sides, and then I'll flip it and go the other way. And then I'll also do diagonal lines for a total of 4 lines across my pumpkins. Repeat this for all of your pumpkins. The next thing you're going to do is smush your pumpkin down a little bit so it flattens out to give it that really nice pumpkin shape. Now, what are we going to use for stems? One of my favorite things to use is just a basic stick. I will use some of my garden shears to cut little stem pieces off, and I feel like these make the best pumpkin toppers. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to put these on, but essentially all I did was stick them down into that cinnamon mixture, and once they dry, they'll be stuck in there. I also added a little bit of moss that I had in my craft room around the edge to give it a more whimsical look. Now with these pumpkins, you're gonna have to let them sit and dry for several days, especially if you made a larger one like I did. But once they dry, they smell amazing and they make great decor. There's this really fun trend where you can take any print and make it holiday themed. And at Dollar Tree, they have a ton of canvases, so I wanted to try to recreate that look. And I picked up this print from Dollar Tree that I'll be using. It's this nice forest scene. So what I'm gonna do is get out some acrylic paints in those fall colors, and I'll just put a little bit out on my tray. Next, I'll be using some of my fine detail brushes to add to this print. So I started with the leaves, and I'm just going to be adding in some of those warm fall colors just by dabbing them onto the trees. I wanted to add a few pumpkins, so with one of my fine detail brushes, I'm going to be creating little circles at the bottom in the orange color. I added some stems with the black. I'm also going to be adding some white down to the bottom, and I'll mix the colors when needed. This is such a fun project to do, and you can really customize it to be whatever season you like. Now I wanted to add a frame to this print. I had picked up this frame for $1 at my local thrift store, and I'm gonna spray paint it with this deep green color. I'll spray paint on the back side, flip it over, and spray paint on the front. Now to put this picture into my frame, I'm going to use my wire cutters to pull the canvas off of its base. Next, I'm going to put my frame down, and using a Sharpie, I'm just going to draw around the outside. Now, when I cut this out, I'm gonna cut it in about 1 centimeter in from that line. And then I'll place my picture onto the back. If I need to cut any additional from here, I'll just cut a little bit more off. Next, I'm gonna use hot glue to attach it to the top, stretch it as tight as possible, and hot glue it to the bottom. How great does this look sitting out for fall? If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment the word of the day, which is fall. Haunted house decor has been such a big trend this year that I'm seeing on Pottery Barn's website. So I wanted to try to give you guys a DIY you could do to recreate that look. So when I was shopping the last time at Dollar Tree, I came across these wood houses and I thought, okay, let's try that with this DIY. So you're gonna need 3 houses. You're also going to need a wood board. This was another item I picked up at Dollar Tree. I'm gonna take them outside and I want to spray paint all of these pieces on the front and back backside with a black spray paint. Once they're completely spray painted, you can bring them in, and next we're going to use some puff paint. Now last year I did a Christmas DIY where I added puff paint to make a gingerbread house, and it was super cute. It turned out really well. So I thought, what if we tried to do that same look with the white puff paint for our haunted houses? So I wasn't sure exactly how these were going to turn out, but I wanted them to all look different. So on one of my first houses, I added the puff paint around the windows, and I thought that looked pretty good. I also added in like some dots to the bottom of the houses. I added in some webs. I tried creating a spider. Now, none of these looked perfect, but I feel like with haunted houses, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just have fun with it. And then add as much or as little as you like. Let your puff paint dry completely. The next day I came back and I used hot glue to attach the houses to my wood board. And I'm gonna set them up in my living room, and I'll add a Dollar Tree tea light to the back. And here's how it turned out. An easy way that you can refresh your home for the fall is to change out the covers on your pillows. You can do that rather inexpensively by buying items on Amazon. Now, I love a high-end look, but I don't like a high-end price. And I found these Pottery Barn pillows. They were gorgeous, but I wasn't gonna spend that money. So I found something so similar on Amazon. They're perfect. I'm just going to switch out my pillows and put them in these pillow covers, and you would never know that they were an inexpensive dupe. Now, if you love inexpensive dupes from Amazon, you want to be following me on Liz Fenwick Deals. I have an Instagram called Liz Fenwick Deals where I show you all the best Amazon deals every day. You can follow me there, or if you're on Facebook, you could also join our Facebook group, Liz Fenwick Deals. I post all the same great Amazon dupes there. So I had this pot of leftover hydrangeas from the spring, and I really wanted to try to incorporate them into my fall decor. And if you look on Pottery Barn's website, they have these muted hydrangeas that look dried, and they're so pretty. So that was the look that I was going to try to recreate. I went into my spray paints and I pulled out 4 different colors. I wanted like a base brown color. I also had my sea glass red color. I had a cream color, and then one of my stone finishes. And I took them outside, started with that brown color, putting it all over the flowers. I added in some of the sea glass. I added sparingly the white. Now, if you put too much white, don't worry, you can always go over it with another color. That's what I love about doing this. You can always layer the colors. And I added in some of that stone color as well. Now, I did make a mistake after these dried. I pulled these out of the pot, and you could see so much of the blue flowers. So I actually had to take them back outside and spray paint them again. So I guess I probably wouldn't have left them in the pot. So if you have one of these pots, just pull them out and spray paint them from the start, and it'll be fine. But these look great. I just put them in a vase that I had from over the summer. It really just dresses up my house, makes it ready for fall, and I can save money on fall florals because I spray painted them myself. Now, this vase was one that I made earlier this year from a Dollar General vase. Now, with your florals, don't be concerned about completely covering them. Honestly, it looks good if some of the blue is still on your florals. Last year, one of the most popular items they had out at Dollar Tree were these moss pumpkins, and they've come back this year, and if you see them, pick them up. They look so great in floral arrangements, but I wanted to show you another option for these pumpkins. If you shopped at Dollar Tree, you know they have these domes. They've had them out for years. That's what I'm going to be using in this fall DIY. Now, the black bases I did want to change, so I spray painted those with the color Sand Dollar. I also ended up adding the stone texture because when I was adding the stone texture to that wood piece that I told you about at the beginning of the DIYs, I got a little bit on these. So I thought, you know what, we'll just stone texture these as well. And it ended up looking okay, but that wasn't my plan from the start. Cut off the stems at the bottom so they were just this really cute moss pumpkin. I just put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of these moss pumpkins. placed them on the cream bases, and then I added the domes on top. 3 of these together look so great sitting out. I could see them on your dining room table or sitting out in your decor. One of the hot new items right now at Dollar Tree are these bamboo organizers. Now, these would look great sitting out in your decor, or you could use them for smaller items in your bathroom or in your closet. Let me show you how to recreate this look with Dollar Tree items. So you're going to need to pick up this clear bowl for just $1.25. You're gonna use a white spray paint to spray paint the underside, and then you're gonna spray paint the top portion. Once that's dry, you're gonna fill it with these Dollar Tree faux pears, but the Dollar Tree pears are a little bit bright and don't necessarily match the ones they have on Pottery Barn's website. So I'm gonna be using a couple of my acrylic paints. I got a yellow mustard color, and then I also went with this brown color. I felt like the best way to apply this paint would be with a stippling brush. So I'm gonna place the 2 colors out on my tray, and I'm just gonna mix them together and dab the paint all over my pears. Now I started at the bottom, working my way up to the top, and you really want to mix and combine those colors. If you feel like you need a little bit more brown or a little bit more yellow, just kind of adjust the colors until you're happy with it. Let these dry overnight, and then you can add them to your bowl. I ended up going with 4 of the pears. What do you think? Was I able to recreate this Pottery Barn bowl? So the next DIY I wanted to try to recreate was this candle holder that I found on Pottery Barn's website. And it looks pretty simple. Like, this would be an easy project to recreate, right? You just get some candle holders at Dollar Tree, some vases and candles, and it should work out. Well, it didn't go exactly as planned. So I had these silver candles. I actually had these in my craft room from last year, but you could probably find something similar at Dollar Tree. That's what I'm gonna be using because I needed a more chunky candle holder. I'm gonna be using this ready-made stucco material that I had. I used it on some planters over the summer. So I added that to a bowl. I added a little bit of water, but then I thought I'm gonna tint this and make this like a really cool color. Well, I wanted it to look like wood, so I added in stain, and that pretty much did nothing. And I feel like that the oil base just did not mix with my stucco, so it really provided no color. So then my next thought was, okay, I'll add in some paint. So I added in a brown paint, and as you can see in this bowl, it looks purple. And I kept adding in colors, but it just kept looking purple. I was like, I do not want this to look purple. What do I do? So then I Googled what to do, and it told me that to counteract and neutralize purple, you want to add in its opposite, which would be yellow. So I tried doing that, and it did kind of neutralize it, honestly. I felt like it did kind of like tone down some of that purple. I wasn't gonna give up on it. I just kind of added a little bit more paint. I added in some black, and then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go with it because this stucco material is gonna give me texture, and I can always add additional paint. So I started just adding the stucco material to the outside of this container, and it does give it like this really great rough texture. If you've never used this product, it's also great on planters, or I could even see it on some wall art. So I put it all over my candle holders, and I let them sit and dry overnight. The next day I came back and I thought, okay, I gotta paint these. So I found like some brown colors, I found some white. Those were pretty much the colors that I used. I wanted to tone these down with water. So using a paper towel and some water, I just added these colors to my candle holders, dabbing them. I went on with the brown, I went on with the white, and in the end, I was happy with the color, but I feel like it took me a while to kind of get that color I was going for. From there, once those were dry, I added on the glass containers with some E6000 and then put in some Dollar Tree red candles. So this DIY was a little bit harder to do. It definitely doesn't look like the picture inspiration, but I think it turned out pretty good. Let me know down in the comments your favorite DIY. I love knowing your opinion. And make sure you subscribe because I want to see you back here, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye.